and Jason Jones of The Athletic. Look this up for me. Mike McCarthy has one. Doesn't he have a coach of the year?
I would assume so.
I want to remind you, Andy Reid has 2 Super Bowls and 1 coach of the year. There ain't no way they give him Mike McCarthy one.
But Mike, I don't think Dak is looked at like Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, considering now people talk about Dak like he's the worst quarterback ever, if the Cowboys win 14 games with such a, quote, terrible quarterback, shouldn't he get some consideration?
He took over the play calling this year.
I don't think he's going to.
What the hell's going on? I'm campaigning for Cowboys and Browns.
No, it's all good.
The hell's going on today? Next thing you'll know,
following your Laker love of recent weeks, I mean, this is all on brand at this point. I know you got a big weekend coming up and all, but I mean, hey, this is all on brand. Lakers, Cowboys, what's next? I got a Mookie Betts jersey for you.
I was gonna say it's gonna be wild when he start repping the Dodgers.
I mean, I see a trend here. I see a trend.
It's gonna be wild.
Well, I tell you, the media, the media, they just run wild.
Bro, you realize like an hour ago you called us the media?
Well, now I'm not involved.
When one of the hosts didn't even know we were on the damn air, you called us the media. Jason, they just be leaving your boy out to. They just be leaving your boy out to dry here. I take it back. Mike McCarthy hasn't won a coach of the year yet.
I think if like Jason said, the Cowboys won 14 games. Mike McCarthy, at the very least, he's getting to the NFL honors where they got the top 3 coaches there. Very least, if not winning the whole thing.
They gave it to Brian Daboll last year, who was 8-9.
That was
9-8 or something
like that. The crazy thing is people were telling us, like, I think it might be Daboll. We were both like, you guys out of your mind. And he actually won it.
Sometimes that award really is the coach of the team that we thought was going to be really bad and ended up being okay.
Facts. And that's not Dallas.
It's not really the best coaching job. It's like, wow, I didn't think they'd be any good. Wow, they're actually halfway decent. He must be a great coach. I mean, you see that across every sport. I mean, the NBA, it's the same thing. It's a lot of times it's not the best coach. It's, wow, that team is not nearly as bad as I thought they would be. Coach of the year.
Well,
sometimes the best coaching job is the coach who maybe didn't win, maybe got barely above 500, but did it with a bunch of injuries or took a really bad roster and made it competitive. I mean, Eric Spoelstra should, if that was the case, could have 3 or 4 of them things.
Was there anybody this year that should have won it instead of Mike Brown?
I don't know if I would say should have won it. I don't think, I think the Oklahoma City coach had an argument. I think he did a hell of a job with that team.
He did a good job in Boston, all things considered.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think anyone was going to argue Mike Brown. But I think, I mean, if would I have been shocked if say I'm blanking on his name? See, it shows you how much I pay attention. I think I voted him 2nd or 3rd on my ballot.
Mark Dagnall,
yeah. I mean, if he had won it, would I have thought it was the worst travesty? No. But I mean, you think about that team. They lost Holmgren. That team was supposed to be, in the Wembanyama, sweepstakes.
Yeah, but they were 40-42. That would have felt like Brian Daboll to me. Like Mike Brown, the Kings were top 3. That wasn't a Daboll selection. Like, they were top 3.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't have considered it a travesty, but I would have been shocked. But it wouldn't have been like the greatest, robbery in, I guess, voting history. But I kind of look at all the awards differently than a lot of folks. It's really it's just a poll. I mean, it doesn't really. I mean, how many of those did I don't know? Does Popovich have? How many does Phil Jackson have? How many does Pat Riley have? I mean, there's a lot of great coaches who don't have a bunch of those. So I mean, it is what it is.
Jason, I don't know if you plan to write for this over at The Athletic, but you've got a large contingent of people behind you who will support this. We need something done about Winning Time being canceled.
I'm actually working on something about that.
So, so did you get? I thought about this morning. Did you get to preview the series before it aired?
Yeah.
So the ending that you saw when you previewed the series isn't the same ending that happened on Sunday, is it?
No, this is it was supposed to end in '84. So it ends with the Celtics. I talked to someone today. they had already been thinking about season 3. There's no way they would have ended the series. You can't end a Lakers
Celtics
series.
winning, right?
They were. This was never the plan to end it like this. They would have, I mean, in talking to people, they had plans going beyond. Remember when it started? It starts with like a glimpse of Magic retiring.
Yeah, yep, 91.
So there's no way they planned on ending it in '84.
Mm-hmm.
When I talked to someone today talking about they had ideas of getting to the point where you get Vlade on the show. They had actually talked about scenes of having this young kid who, from Europe, who smoked cigarettes on the show, and he's like now replacing Kareem. They had all. Trust me, this was not supposed to end this way, but the ratings went down, and then I mean, with the writers, with the actors strike, no one from the show could promote it. In an ideal world, you would have had Quincy Isaiah on Jimmy Kimmel talking about it. You would have had John C. Reilly on this show. You would have had all these magazines doing all these stories. Like last year, they were all over the place. This year, I got to talk to them before the strike took place. That's why when my Quincy Isaiah story, it says they pretty much told us all, please put in your stories that they talked before the strike, because their union is strict. They can't promote on social media. They can't do anything to promote things. And so, I mean, I don't want to say that the show was a victim of the strike, because that makes it sound, I don't want to, saying that they shouldn't be, they shouldn't be fighting for whatever they're fighting for to keep the show on the air. But it definitely impacted some things. The ratings went down. But yeah, you can't. I mean, this is like ending. I put it for Kenny. This is like ending the Joe Montana story with the hit from the '86 with the Giants loss. It's like ending it right there. Right. Okay, that's like ending Tom Brady with the Tyree helmet catch. Like you just don't. There's just Magic has 2 championships on this show.
Yeah.
So this is just, it's rough. I know a lot of non-Laker fans who like this show.
Yeah, me.
Yeah. That's
well, I mean, I'm
not a Lakers.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Absolutely not.
Good point.
That writer strike is terrible. I'm so upset with that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a crazy time we're living in. I actually saw what's it called, X or whatever? Someone screenshotted some of those AI written high school game stories. It is like the worst thing ever. This team won this team won the game. No names, no nothing. The score was this at halftime. The score was this. I understand why they're fighting, because as someone who creates for a living, the idea that you can get a computer to do what you do was just is crazy. And I didn't know just even financially how some of these people in Hollywood were hurting.
Yeah,
I had you hear the stories of I was waiting tables, but there were people who were literally waiting tables.
Jeez. Man, it's tough, man. It's definitely tough. Thinking about winning time, and hoping it comes back at some point. Netflix, stand up, do what you got to do. Max,
but they can't even sign it though. Like,
well, they can't do anything with this.
Yeah, right.
With the strike going on, you can't do anything. But it made me think. I'll ask both of you guys this. Do you think this is a Lakers exclusive type show, or are there other franchises in all the sports that could do something like this and be this entertaining? I mean, because there's a lot of characters and drama in that Lakers story that may not be able to be replicated with other franchises. Off the top of my head, I feel like the Yankees might be able to do something. Cowboys, those 90s Cowboys might be able to do something.
The 90s Cowboys would be, oh my God.
I would love to see like a winning time franchise, like branch this thing out to other sports.
The opening scene is Michael Irvin stabbing his teammate in the neck. Yeah, that's the opening. That's the opening scene of
some player leaving the White House. I mean, the Cowboys could. What was that Jerry Jones quote? He said they were just trying to find the right way to do the wrong thing or something. I mean,
oh goodness.
I mean that show That show would be amazing. I mean, I think the Yankees could definitely work. I think the '80s Mets,
Yep.
Daryl Strawberry, yeah. I mean, then there's some teams that just wouldn't work. Like imagine like the Spurs doing this.
Boring. You know who would work though? We're a little
Just following Tim Duncan while he just like goes home
in his Birkenstocks and long jean shorts, and 4X polo. You know, we're a little too close to it. Maybe 10, 15 years down the road, I think the Warriors could do something like this.
Yeah, I think down the road, yeah. I mean, there'd be like a whole episode on Jordan Poole and Draymond. And
oh man,
you'd have the whole KD is here, and
the
fact that they never, it was like KD's on the team, but he's not really one of us. Even though they, I would love to see the scene where they fly out to go recruit him, or
that's the Hamptons.
Yeah,
the Hamptons,
or a dramatization of how they like alienate Harrison Barnes or whatever, and like just just start looking at him sideways, like there'd be so much you could do with that. I mean, the Mark Jackson years, the whole was he upstairs preaching and getting his sermon ready. The whole is Michael Malone really coaching the team. You can have
Michael Malone would be like Pat Riley. Mark Jackson is Paul West.
You'd have a whole. I mean, you'd have angry Andrew Bogut doesn't want to go to church, and I mean, and just think of some of just like the other play. You could have a whole episode about Donald Sterling. Oh. Remember, they were playing the Warriors, and that whole thing went down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Winning time needs to be a franchise. Like they need to expand this thing. I need more.
I mean, I can live with that. Yeah, that would be great television. Like
as long as we get Draymond in the parking lot on the phone, that's all we need. Hey Siri, call Kevin.
And then all we need is like some flashbacks. Like they could do like.
No, Siri, I was just kidding, Siri. Sorry, I don't need you to call anyone.
Siri's like what? Yeah, they do a flashback. But I think that would be highly entertaining. They have some like scrawny kid place because the whole myth of Steph is like he's like 5'8", like he's like the smallest 6'3" guy in NBA history. They're like he's so tiny. I'm like he's not a small guy.
Yeah,
Steph is not like
he's 6'3".
He's not like they make it sound like Steph is like 5'7". Like he's So I mean,
look, they
could have so much.
Start that version of winning time with Steph walking off the court getting swept by the Kings.
Okay,
that's how
that's
how they could start that off. Yeah.
Well,
okay, I'm lost now, but okay.
Well, no. When the Kings, that's this year. When the Kings sweep.
Okay.
You start the franchise.
Start with the end of the dynasty. So
that's it. That's it.
Exactly.
Some guy plays De'Aaron Fox, just like.
And you know how Quincy would look up at the camera and say something like Steph would look up at the camera. This is when I knew it was over. There's purple confetti. There's a beam in the background.
There's a beam.
What's my man? Steve Harris could play Mike Brown.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Yo, let's book it. We're not writers, so we're not on strike. We can put this together.
Yeah, Steve Harris. Get someone to play Monty. Yeah, this would be fun.
Yeah,
just get the bubble vest, and you're in good shape.
There you go. But they would all really just be cameos because it's not really our show. We're just showing the end of it.
But it still would be fun.
Oh, for sure.
Get
everybody. Give Vivek. Somebody play Vivek.
He'd be on both shows. He'd be on the show. Think about it. There'd have to be the time where he leaves. He leaves the Warriors, and the Kings could still be interwoven into it. Yeah. We got a minority owner who might be leaving because the team in Sacramento. There's so many different things you could. There could be. You could have like the Clay 37 1/4 game.
Oh yeah.
If you have a Clay episode, and that's probably I probably never cursed on press row more than I did that night. I called Clay several MFers in the most respectful way. Like if they don't do this, y'all gonna let him do that to y'all? I mean, that's probably one of the greatest single game performance I've ever seen in person.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I said, I was like, I was up there saying, just push him, do something, trip him. I mean, what are you guys doing? I'm like, this is, I mean, it was just in that locker room after the game. They were just like, man, yeah. I knew poor Coach Corbin was in trouble. They were just like, we didn't do nothing different. We just let him keep doing it.
The crazy part, and Kenny and I point this out sometimes, the craziest part about that Clay quarter was it's like half a quarter. It's like the final like 4 or 5 minutes or whatever. And it's not until like the final 3 minutes that the Warriors were like, hey, I think Clay's cooking. Let's give him the ball. And he starts like calling for the ball, and then this like just barrage happens. But he goes a chunk of that quarter without scoring.
Yeah.
Or maybe he hits one shot and then goes like 3-4 possessions without scoring. But it's not like it was spread out.
Then it was an avalanche. It was just like boom, 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 like a video game. I'm like, this is like I said. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
He was barely touching the ball on some of the threes.
They were like calling pick and roll at half court. He's like just up. Yeah, it was. I think that one. Yeah, that one was easily probably the best single game performance I can remember ever seeing in person.
I believe that.
Well, we can leave that one out of Winning Time.
No, it could be there.
No, I don't.
It's the Warrior show.
Part of the story. Yeah, and again, it. So we got Steph's opening scene, Clay's opening scene. He's walking across to the Sawyer. He turns around. He turns around and looks up and stares at the beam, and then turns around and puts his head down and shakes his head.
I thought I was going to play here.
See, could have been me.
He thought he was going to be a king. They were house hunting out here.
What would Draymond's opening scene be? Him on the phone. Yeah, Bron, I want to come down.
No, his opening. His opening scene is going to be him sitting down, like watching, like what game he suspended? Game 5. Watching Game 5 on TV, just mad.
He's in his hotel room.
No, didn't he watch it?
Oh, and the finals. He was at the A's game.
I was gonna say
that has to be Draymond's thing, because you took it their whole. I mean, if he doesn't miss that game, who knows what this thing could have been for them?
No, they still lose.
No.
I
got it. Draymond is watching the Game 4 sweep in the hotel room because he got suspended in Game 3 for just kicking Sabonis in the nuts. That's what he did. So he got suspended for Game 4. He's staring out the Sawyer window, looking at the beam.
What is Kerr's opening scene? He waves the mic gives him a hug at the end, waves, and walks away, knowing it's the last time he'll ever coach a game.
He kicks Sabonis in the groin and then looks over at Adam Silver and does the Hulkamaniac up to his ear.
God. Somehow this has now become Kings Warriors time. Kings Warriors winning time. It's just all.
Oh man, I love Winning Time. I hope at some point in time it comes back. It's a phenomenal show.
Yeah, man. We've seen a lot of other shows come back. I hope this comes back. And like I said, you can't end it with the Celtics winning. It's just we can't. His facts matter. Facts matter, and we can't just let that be the final. Like my kids weren't alive back then. I can go back and explain to them, no, it didn't end this way. The Lakers would go on to win in 85, 87, 88. They would go on to win 3 of the next 4. They would beat the Celtics twice.
Yeah, the win at the Garden isn't even on there. That's tough.
The baby hook.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. And then, I think I'm getting confused. I think I'm thinking of This Is Magic. I was like, then they didn't even really get into like Isaiah and Detroit and all that. I don't think they talked about that on Winning Time yet.
Yeah, that was to come. Because you got to remember that they don't get into that's toward the end of the era when they run to Detroit. But remember after they lost with it 84 and they lost, who was in the hotel consoling the whole Magic, the whole tragic thing. It was Isaiah and Mark Aguirre.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was a whole lot of story that hadn't been told, and I was interested in kind of the post Magic years. Like, I would have loved who they're going to cast as Vlade. Who plays Nick Van Exel? Quincy Isaiah comes back as an older Magic and throws Nick Van Exel's pager or whatever it was back. Quincy Isaiah hosting the Magic Hour. I mean, there was a lot of stuff.
Oh,
there's a lot of stuff we didn't get to. We didn't get to a lot of stuff with this,
Wasn't Magic? I think I learned this on They Call Me Magic. Wasn't Magic at Dodger Stadium when the riots broke out, or was it a Laker game?
I don't. I know that there was a game going on, I believe, when they started. Yeah,
it might have been. They
told all the players when they were leaving the Forum which way to go to avoid it.
So it might. Yeah, okay. So it must have been. He must have been at the Forum, not a Dodgers.
Yeah, and that's why they played that game in Vegas, and the Clippers played in Orange County or something. Yeah.
Yeah, this would be a franchise because we haven't even done the Shaq Kobe version of the Lakers yet.
Yeah, we have
Phil handing out books and
Yeah, we haven't even. Yeah, there's just Cedric Ceballos going to Lake Havasu during the season,
and then don't forget
Phil Jackson sending Shaq to go pull a tree out of the lake or something like that at his house. I'm gonna need that depicted on film.
Jerry West having the spaghetti dinner with Kobe, trying to get him to calm down and not hate Shaq. And
look, don't forget about Dr. Buss. In 2002, this scene where he's just sitting in his hotel room and or in his mansion, he's stressed out. He gets a phone call and he says, "Dr. Buss, you don't need to worry about who I am, but we got you covered. You'll be fine."
I've heard that happened.
He hangs up the phone.
I heard that happen.
Oh man. Okay. Guess we'll be all right.
It was Vlade telling him he was going to tip the ball back to Robert Horry. That's who it was on the other line of the phone. He's like, "Don't worry, boss, I got you."
Part of winning time again for the wrong reason, but the Kings are back on the show. See, the guy who plays Vlade as a Laker then goes back to play Vlade as a King.
You could catch him after game 3 winking at Jerry Buss.
Vlade checks his mail and there's a ring.
The higher ups called just another. Somebody standing in the parking garage like Smithers. That meme saying, "Don't worry, Dr. Buss, we got you in game 6 and 7."
Somebody
who's going to play Doug Christie in Rick?
Oh, damn!
Probably Doug.
Probably
Doug. Just put a wig on.
Rick can both play. They can play themselves in the game.
Well, I think you have to pull Rick Fox away from Kanye.
Oh, is that who he's rolling with now?
Yeah. Isn't Rick Fox like Kanye's like assistant or something like that?
Read something about that.
I read something, but you never know with Kanye. You never know what people are doing around him.
I heard that in Rick Ross's book. That's where I found that note.
Oh, Rick Fox and Kanye?
Yeah, it was in Rick Ross's book.
I vaguely remember something like that involving Rick, but who. Things are so weird nowadays. I don't know what's going on. Sometimes
is Rick Fox Kanye West's assistant?
Well, we know what happened to the other assistant, with the PR assistant.
For who? Kanye?
Yeah. She got arraigned down in Georgia with the Peoples.
Oh, that's who that was. I saw her.
Yeah. The one black lady. Yeah, she used to work for Kanye.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Well, still unclear. Rick Fox says Kanye West has been kicked off Twitter. That's a wild headline, but it happened. That happened.
I tried to talk to Rick and stuff, but Rick's he's SAG. So I mean, those guys aren't talking.
Oh wow, yeah, he does a lot of.
What I learned today,
Rick Fox,
in terms of just interviewing like athletes who have been in films and stuff, a lot of them can't talk that they've done commercials and whatnot. A lot of them have SAG cards.
Wasn't the joke in Blackish that the kids were Rick Fox's kids and not Andre's? Rainbow had an affair with Rick Fox, and those were his kids.
There's a lot of people who would have loved to have had an affair with Rick Fox back in the day.
They love Rick Fox.
Well, they probably still love Rick Fox now.
Well, that was
I was
fun.
at a party in Vegas where Rick Fox was at, and it was pretty. Even the chick I was with, like, bailed on, like, "Oh my God, there's Rick Fox." I'm like, "Hold up, you."
Wait, your girl done? Oh no!
No, she wasn't my girl. The chick I was hanging out with, she wasn't my girl.
Oh well,
She was my company, and she saw Rick Fox and lost her mind. Like, I'm like, I was like, but I could. I mean, I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and drink this drink, and she'll be back.
That's all you can do. That's all you
Yeah,
can.
I mean, sometimes you got to take your L. And it wasn't like Rick didn't want her, so she took the L. Me and her don't speak anymore, so she
shot that fade away though. She's like,
yeah. You miss every shot you don't take.
I'm sorry. Is his name Ulrich?
I don't know.
I could believe it. I can believe
Ulrich Alexander Fox.
He is Canadian. That's not
and like
Ulrich a common name.
No, I'm just saying that I can see that, like Kelly Olynyk. Well, Kelly's his first name, but I could see him having.
He's from the islands. He could be like our buddy Chavano.
Number 7 for the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, Rick's from the island. People forget about that about Rick.
How can you be Canadian and from the Bahamas?
Maybe he was born in the Bahamas and then they moved to Canada.
I think it's the other way around. His father is a native of the Bahamas, so he was born in Toronto. Boy, who expected a deep dive on Rick Fox today? He was born in Toronto. His mother was an Olympic high jumper and pentathlete, and his dad is from the Bahamas. Fox's family moved to his father's native Bahamas when he was young. I don't know. And then when he came back, he was in Indiana. Yo, Rick Fox got a wild life here.
And then went to North Carolina. And went to Boston and LA.
Mm-hmm.
Married Vanessa Williams somewhere along the way.
Damn. He's had a hell of a life.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty Ricky.
I heard Rick Fox is a nice dude too.
Yeah. I've heard the same thing. Yeah,
man, him and Vanessa only made it like 5 years.
Oh, man.
What a dude! We're doing a deep dive into the life of Rick Fox.
Impact 316. Pocket watch.
Hey, noted. We got you tomorrow. We got you tomorrow.
Rick, I did not expect a Rick Fox discussion today at all.
How much longer before we let you go? Let's talk about something serious. How much longer does this Deion stuff continue?
Like the hoopla? I think it calms down after these next couple of games.
I guess I don't have to ask you how you see these next couple of games going for Colorado.
And if they win one of them,
but
I don't know if they can do that without Travis Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Hunter's special. And if you're going, if you're going to ask Shedeur Sanders to beat Oregon and USC, without his best receiver and their best DB at that, and some of they're deep. I mean, they're going to the Big 12. They got a Big 12 team. They can score and they can't stop anybody. And that's a bad recipe going against an Oregon team or a USC team that's going to put up points. You got to get some stops of it. But I think, have you ever met Deion?
No.
I mean, I have. And it's almost impossible to be around him and then not leave him feeling better about yourself. And I was just like, wow, this guy is one of the coolest people I've ever met. I talked to him for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I can only imagine what it must be like if you're a high school recruit and Deion Sanders walks in and your dad's all giddy and, and it's when you start watching the videos of him, you're like, yeah, I think he's also kind of put out there enough that there's 7 or 8 guys away. He's never called us a championship team.
Yeah.
And, I think he's kind of put that out there. We still need some more. We said we need some more dogs and some more leaders. But I just think even if they lose, there's still going to be some hoopla. But I don't think people will be staying up on the East Coast till 1 a.m. to watch them get blown out, on a Saturday.
I think they're going to lose both games, but Oregon struggled against Texas Tech. I think Colorado could beat Texas Tech. So I think that's going to be a lot closer than the 21-point spread that's out there right now. And also, just want to be perfectly clear, if Deion recruited Reese, I can tell you right now, Reese is going to Colorado. I don't care what he says. I don't care what Reese wants. Deion recruits you, you going to play for Deion.
That's it. Deion come by your house. How you gonna tell Prime no?
I'm not.
Because I grew up with coaches like him, back in the day. We called him Coach whatever, like we had Coach Jerome and Coach Tony. We didn't have, so saying Coach Prime ain't that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's going to be, I've written some stuff about Deion in the past. I'll probably be writing more about Deion. Think about it. I tweeted about it too. Every few years, the culture adopts a college team. Back in the day when I was real young, it was Georgetown, to the point I thought Georgetown was HBCU. Then for a while, it was the Hurricanes with Uncle Luke and all them. And then you get the hoops, for a while, everyone was rolling with North Carolina. Then it was UNLV, or then it was Michigan, or basically anybody who thought we could beat Duke, we rolled with. And now I think, we got our new team that everyone's rolling with. It's Colorado. I mean, they got cool colors,
Yeah.
All that Prime gear is flying off the shelves. I think there's going to be a lot of buzz no matter what he does. But I just think the whole talk about them is going to die down if they get beat pretty bad, get soundly in one of these couple of games. But Deion's a master salesman. He'll find a reason to have us talking about them again.
Yeah, that's facts. This was probably a lot more fun than it should have been, Jay. This was a blast. Always love talking to you, man. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week.
All right, see you next week, guys. Take care.